Hey guys, Rob Caputo here for another episode of Talking with Cars, and today it's funny actually how I have my camera set up right now. It's on my workbench facing me. I got my shop light coming down at my face, so forgive the lighting. But today what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the North New Jersey Porsche Club of America workshop at Paul Miller Porsche in Parsippany, New Jersey. It's a huge location. They have their workshops there all the time. And all the members are going to be there. They're inviting people from the outside to come in and kind of like learn a little bit more about the Porsche Club, get more involved. I'm not part of the Porsche Club of America. My father-in-law is. But I'm going to take the time to actually go there and take a look, see what kind of vehicles they have. And also the workshop that they're having today is with Kevin Fitzsimmons. And what he's going to do is he's going to review and he's a concours winner, by the way. I think he just won the 2025 concours with Porsche Club. And I think he's got a 97 Porsche Carrera. So I believe that's what he's got. And I think he's going to be talking about detailing and preparing a car for the concours, specifically engine bays and stuff like that. That's what I understand, but it might be a little bit different. But I'm curious to see how it is. This is a little bit different of a video than I normally do. It's detail related, it's concours related, it's auto enthusiast related, so I think you're gonna enjoy it. So I'll see you in a little bit. This is Talking with Cars.
Is that okay? So like Hank said, we're gonna start off on talking about the prep work that I would do for an engine area. Something that I do if possible, because I don't want to, let's say, depending upon your if you have a trickle charge on it, try and some of the older cars you could kind of move the lock so that it's the light goes out, because you don't want to drain your battery. So something I'm conscious of. In this car, I can't do that, but depending upon the vehicle that you have, you might be able to move the lock so that it's closed, and then the light will go out. And then before you close, you just want to pop it. So one of the things that I try to do when I'm doing a deep clean is remove as much as I can. So in other words, like the, here, the air box. The air box is pretty easy to get out. Basically remove this from the throttle body. This clips out over here. This, if you want to come in just for a moment, this slides out, vacuum lines slide out, and then this just comes up. And then that enables you to clean this whole area. And it makes a big difference getting your hand into an area. Let's say back here, I could fit my hand in there, but if your area is kind of tight, something that I do is, the long bristle brush that you might have for cleaning the vent on your dryer. I will wrap a microfiber cloth with some rubber bands or Velcro, whatever. And then that really enables you to get in to areas which are far back. Because the judges, a lot of times, what they see, if it looks dirty, it is dirty. And it's a little bit hard to see, but you could imagine on the top of the intake manifold here, there's intersections of plastic, and that's going to be in the corners there. There's going to be an accumulation of dust and dirt, and you're really not going to be able to get that out with a microfiber. You have to get all the way into the corner. So something that I use, I like this rinseless wash stuff. This is it in the concentrated form. The thing I like about this one is I could tilt this so that it comes in, for the serving. And then I put it in, a bottle here. Then I label it. And I use distilled water for the dilution that it requires. And a lot of times I'll write down what the dilution is, but this makes it pretty simple. So this, does anybody have a question about rinseless wash? Why? Our water, depending upon where you live, if you have a well, you might have minerals in the water. So
Washed up.
Rinseless wash, yeah.
The lubricity is amazing.
Yeah, that's one of the, I'll get into, that's one of the reasons why I really like it. But, you know, the marketing on the rinseless wash is, you know, the traditional car wash soap is, let's say traditional. This technology, it encapsulates the dust, the dirt, and lifts it off. This is the marketing. But I think one of the features that I really like about it is that it's adding a slipperiness to the surface. So before you touch any painted surface or any surface, it's nice if you can add some slickness to it. And the rinseless wash, I think, is really good at that. When it comes to the, let's see, I'll do it on the air box. You know, I would use this. And the thing that's nice about it, it's going to have a nice matte finish because that's the finish that, you know, it has from the manufacturer. You don't want to add shininess to the surface because the judges, it may be clean, but if it's shiny and they touch it, if they feel it, that you're going to lose points.
You want that OEM.
Yeah, like this just feels right. That's what it should be. If it has any product on it, then that they can feel. You know, I think we tend to make mistakes on our tires growing up in Brooklyn. Too much product on the tires, you know. People like that wet look, but that's not how it came from the factory. And you know, for most of our judging, that's the bar that we're comparing things to. How did it look when it came from the factory? So if something is shiny and you happen to like that, if a judge was to touch the sides of your tire or anything like this, you would lose points if they could feel it. Same thing with like grease in the hinges. Any hinges here, you know, you may think, oh, you know, of course it's going to be greased. But if a judge sees grease or touches it, and technically if it's dirty, you're going to lose points. But I would say it's a very thin line between it's clean grease and it's dirty grease. So it's not worth it, you know, like, yeah, it's best to wipe it off. It's best, you know, if you're showing your car, you got to kind of, you're not going to get into any debates and win it with the judge. If you say, that's the way it came from the factory, they're not going to, you know, I could tell you from experience.
Through the years, you sort of gravitate to similar methods and techniques. And I also, like you mentioned, use a brush to get in under the intake manifolds. And just to, if anybody's interested, I have a lot of brushes, but the best brush I have found is a heat exchanger cleaning brush from a HVAC store, because they're about that long as the handle, and the brush part is that much of it, and they're very soft bristles, so they won't scratch anything. And it's flexible, you can get in there, go back and forth. You would never be able to do that with your hand or with a fiber cloth, just like Kevin said.
Yeah, and you know, everything here, like these different colors, there's a raised surface. So inside this, these are areas where the debris can accumulate. So you really want to, you know, pay special attention to anything with a raised surface. And like here where it says pentosan only, you know, that's the type of power steering fluid that this takes. You got to really be careful because the this painted surface here, where it says pentosan in the steering wheel and the icons here, that's going to come off if you're aggressive. If you have, if the products that you're using are too strong, it's going to take the paint off. You know, or if you use a brush that doesn't have soft bristles, again, that'll be a problem. So it's something, you know, Murray Kane, he was kind of the Concours person who was running the events when I joined the club. He was really good about let's say, discussing, use the gentlest product that you can. You could always go up. But if you start off overly aggressive, it's hard to back away. So you want to be as gentle as possible.
Okay, what's your position about using water or wetting down the engine?
Yeah, I'm very careful. I'm not going to come in here with a garden hose because there's so much electronics in here. And, personally, when I'm working on the vehicle, and if I put together an electrical connector, I use some dielectric grease. I just, kiss it a little bit. And that helps to keep the moisture out. But again, you don't want to flood the vehicle with water. And, something like the way I like to do it is I'll spray and then wipe. But areas like this, I could be more judicious. I think I parked this car outside. So this has got, I got a little tree seedling in here, so I'll get in there. Actually, I know something to remove that. You might not notice it, but if your car's getting judged, they will. So it's just a little, see if I can get it out of here. Yeah, vacuum, you can get it out. But, so there was a tree seedling in there. Those are the type of things that, you really want to be looking out for, because that was in a corner. Obviously, you want to get that. And this is something, I would spray in here. So right now, this is on, like, mist. I'll put more, like, of a jet stream, like that. And then I'll just spray it in there. Just trying to get it, because it does have, you could come in here now and soak that up. So this area here, where it gets tight, it's just going to accumulate dust and stuff. So just be on the lookout for areas like that. Yeah, that would be good too. Like a computer keyboard type thing. Yeah. When I came back from the Oklahoma parade, I had driven with a 1997 car. So when I came back, I wanted to use this car. So I got in and I started it up. It was a hard start. And after about 30 seconds, the back of my car, white smoke, like I was doing a burnout, was coming out of here. I turned the car off. I was like, please, I hope the car's not on fire. So anyway, I went, and my distributor bearing was locked up. So, here's so this isn't turning. So what was happening was the engine, which is connected to the crankcase, was turning, and but not the bearing. So I had to replace it. So one of the things, like being into car detailing, it really helps if you like to work on the car, I think. So if you're not afraid to take things apart, like as an example, to get to that, to get to this, it's really not that bad to do, to change the alternator. If, it's basically 2 bolts here, and just kind of lifts out. So it wasn't that bad, although there is 1 bolt, which in order to get the belt back on, there's our engine, it's in an engine carrier, and there is a bolt from the engine carrier that goes to the body of the engine. And the way that you get at it, you take your license plate off, and then there's an access hole here that you can get your socket onto to get that bolt out. And I have pictures if you're interested. That was the only really tricky part of for getting the belt on, was getting that piece out. But while I had you could imagine there was rubber all over the place. So I took out the airbox here, and I gave everything a deep clean. Another thing that I did on these cars, I changed the engine mounts, which sounds like a big deal, doesn't it? Changing the engine mounts. But it's really, on the rear engine cars, it's not bad. You put your jack underneath, you just kiss up the engine just a little bit, and there's a bolt with a nut that's very long. So you take that nut off, and then you just do, you're just doing one engine mount at a time. You take these two bolts off, and it comes right out. So it's really not that bad. And the thing that was good about it, I could tell my engine mounts needed to be changed because my tailpipes were sagging. And that made a big difference. You know, changing the engine mounts really helped with the way the car felt. Not that I was driving on the edge, but you know, really firmed up the ride. So again, when you're doing that type of work, take advantage of you having things apart and do a deep clean. Another part, you know, the area where judges are looking, because most judges have shown their cars, they know where the, let's say the tricky parts for cleaning are. So all of this stuff here, these come off, this, you know, just basically unsnaps from here. So if you could soak this, because these veins, yeah, they're gonna be a little dusty. There's a piece of plastic here, which helps this maintain its shape. So just be careful, you know, when you take this off. And then just let it sit in some, you know, soapy water. That goes a long way to doing a deep clean on here, helping it look better. The fan, you know, I'll take this off so that I can really, you know, clean all of the blades of the fan, because it's kind of hard to do it with that on there. There's a lot of components there, but if you're really committed to it, I think to really get it clean, you're gonna have to take a certain amount of stuff off in order to really gain access so that you could, you know, clean it. Now, if we were judging engines, you know, obviously it's all about the prep work. So it's all about the before work that you're doing.
Now, after cleaning those parts, like plastic parts, I mean, I guess there's a tendency to over clean them, you know, and they could dry out, especially the flexible pieces.
Yeah.
Is there something that you would need to put on there every now and then to?
Well, there is, you know, this is, let's say, silicone, you know, so there is rejuvenators as well. You just want to make sure that whatever product you're using isn't going to be shiny. It's going to be matte, you know, because this is obviously a matte finish. And if you change that to being a shiny look, it's not going to be that great. You know, kind of like what we would use on the vinyl seats. There are products which are going to add shine. You want to stay away from those. But there are interior cleaning products which don't add a shine. Even, you know, like before an event, I'll just use a microfiber cloth with some water because, you know, where you sit on the seat and the bolsters, they tend to accumulate crumbs. And the whole thing about why do we judge certain areas, in a way, it's helping you to preserve your investment. So those crumbs that are in that space, that material over time, as you sit and get out of the seat, it's going to be an abrasive motion, and it's going to wear down the seats. So it's with a good reason that a judge will part the bolster in the seat and look into that crevice, because they're really trying to help you to preserve your car's value by taking that step. You know, I mean, that's kind of the way I look at it. You know, the battery area of our cars, it is on the judging sheets, the battery area. And why should we care? Well, if you have corrosion on your battery post, you're not getting the best electrical connection that's possible. So, you know, that's an area where, yes, it's being judged. It's hard to get at sometimes, and you might have to remove a panel. But it really is good to keep after that because your car is going to start up better in the wintertime. if those electrical connections are nice and clean. So I'll shift from the engine area just and go to an overall. Is that okay? So yeah.
Before you leave the engine,
Yeah.
I'd like to add to what you
Yeah.
said. That was very good. A lot of people, or some people may have seen on the web, that some people in cleaning an engine will steam clean the engine. I have a steam cleaner that I've had for probably a dozen years, and I do use it to clean the engine, and for a couple of reasons. One is it's just distilled water, it's low pressure, it helps to soften any of the oil or grease that's on there to make it easier to get off. It will not damage anything, and you don't have to use a lot of chemicals. Okay, so if you've seen it, I use it, I recommend it, it's worked for me. The other thing I want to point out is that Kevin's car is a 997.2, and these cars, as were I think a lot of even the older cars, are two-step paint, clear coat, base coat. When Porsche painted these cars, they didn't spend an extra penny to put paint anywhere it wasn't absolutely required. So if you look inside the engine compartment, on the sides of the engine compartment, there is no clear coat. It's base coat. That's base coat water-based paint. If you use citrus degreaser or some of these other solvents, you will redissolve that water-based paint and it will come off on your rag. The undercoat, at least on my car, is a light gray undercoat. And believe me, if you want to know what panic is, when you pull that rag out and you see maroon paint and light gray undercoat showing up, that's panic before the parade. So you got to be very careful on understanding how your car is made and what products you use to clean it, because you can do damage if you don't know what you're doing.
Can you take the posts off, or is that going to mess up your electronics?
Well, do you use a trickle charge?
I do.
Okay, so
That was the next question.
yeah,
If plugged in?
yeah, if you use the trickle charge is in, then you're going to be fine.
Okay.
And I'll show you my car. We'll talk about the battery disconnecting and stuff like that. I tend to not trust my memory. In my garage, I have the directions about what to remove first. So remove the positive cable, then the negative. You don't want to trust it to your memory. So look it up. It's the same for all cars, let's say. And then when you put it back on, you want to follow that.
What's the memory tell you?
What's that?
What does the memory tell you? Positive first or negative?
Look at the sheet.
I'll take
Look at the sheet. Look at the sheet. Yeah.
There's a very inexpensive battery shutter. They're about $10, and they have a green knob on them. We use them a lot in the older cars, okay, as not only a method of keeping the batteries from discharging when we weren't using them, but also as a theft preventive,
Yeah.
Kevin said, because all you have to do is unscrew the green knob and put it in your pocket and walk away with it. That's a plus. The negative side of that is that sometimes they can get a little loose. You can make sure the top, because the car gets stuck all of a sudden. And there's a trick to using them. If you use a trickle charger, what you have to do is you have to make certain that you put the trickle on the shutoff goes on the negative, okay? So you have to make sure that if you use a trickle charger, you can put the little plug-ins or little rings on them. So you have to have the positive connected, but you have to make certain that the negative on the trickle charger goes to the post and not after the shutoff. Because if you shut it off, you're shutting the trickle charger off. So I have a trickle charger, a 6-volt for my 61, and I have one for the Turbo Speedster. But for the newer car, I have a 996 twin turbo. I find that the cigarette lighter plug-in made by Porsche is excellent. You just plug it in, and what you have to do is you have to check your car and make sure that the cigarette lighter is active when the car is off.
Yeah.
I had a car one time, it wasn't, I said, why wasn't this thing not charging?
Yeah.
But the other thing that you also might consider is Optima batteries, gel batteries. If you use an Optima battery, I know the 356s use cloaking devices that you put them in so you can't tell they're Optima batteries, but most of my cars have Optima batteries. They're expensive, like 300 and something bucks, but there's no danger of sulfating, there's no danger of spilling any acid. So that's always something to consider.
Those trickle chargers, Porsche trickle chargers, those are made by that, who's the company that makes all those?
CTEC.
VTEC.
Yes, it's the same one.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
And they're just as cheap, they're cheaper. You know, I happen to get mine Porsche swap me.
Uh-huh.
I sold the car. Here it is.
Yeah, I have a 2005 Boxster. I had to change the oxygen sensors, and I did a video on it. It was really quite straightforward. Just taking the wheel off, and the catalytic converter is only this big on the Boxster, and the two oxygen sensors, one's before, one's after it. And just like you're saying, the Bosch part was $110, and from Porsche it was $240 for the oxygen sensor. So just, let's say talking about overall, let's say the approach that I take when I'm cleaning the car. I start at the top, and basically for the whole vehicle, I'll apply this rinseless wash. And so I'll spray the whole car down. And you don't have to worry about this drying on the vehicle. So I'll spray everything, the wheels, all the glass, everything with the rinseless wash. And then I'll come back, sometimes I have total auto wash in here. I've ever heard that. I like total auto wash. That's a nice liquid auto soap. But we've also gotten some great prizes on quality car washes from the club here that are also really good to use. So first, whole car gets the a rinseless wash, and that's, hopefully it's encapsulating some of the dirt, but I think more importantly, it's helping us provide a little bit more of a slip surface here, so that when we begin to touch it, we're less likely to mar the paint, put in swirl marks or scratches into the clear coat. And that's really, you got to kind of be thinking like, I want to be careful. If I have a microfiber cloth and it falls on the ground, you really got to be careful about using that. You should put it to the side. Even when you wash a microfiber cloth, it's almost like little hooks in the microfiber. Here's something. So I'll just pick out, if there's anything that isn't, like this little speck here. I just look over it, before I use it. So before you use the microfiber cloth, even if you've washed it, it might still have something in the weave of it. Yeah.
Speaking of microfibers, because of debris like that, do you suggest colors like white or yellow so they're easy to spot?
Yeah, one of the things, microfibers, it is good if you think about certain microfibers for certain parts of the car. So in other words, the wheels, that's iron, right? When all that dust on your wheels, when your brake pads in the calipers squeeze down on the rotor, that's going to be metal particles. And when you use something like a wheel cleaner, here's Iron X, or here's the Sonex product. When you spray that on one wheel at a time, it's going to turn purple as it reacts with the metal particles. So that's something you really, like these come from Costco, these yellow ones. For your wheels, you just got to get rid of these things. Everybody.
I wrote a number of articles on microfiber cloths. First of all, there are different weave microfiber cloths, and the optimum microfiber cloth you want is either self-edged microfiber, which is ultrasonically cut, or a cloth that is wrapped on the edge with silk. number one. Number two, you want a microfiber cloth that's approximately 350 grams per square meter. And some of the serious vendors will tell you what the weight of their cloth is. If you get one that's too fluffy, the fuzzy ones, the fibers actually break off because they're plastic. And you'll see when you wipe down the car, you'll see all these little like cat hooks on the car because they're free fibers that just literally break off of the towel. Secondly, you never want to wash it with any cotton fabric. You want to wash all the microfibers secondly. And thirdly, if you come and enter the Concours on the 21st, we are giving all of the winners a nice large bottle of microfiber cloth detergent specifically designed to clean microfiber cloths. And just to agree again with Kevin, if you wipe that cloth on your wheel, throw it away. You will never get those iron particles out of the microfiber cloth. They are micron sized and it's like sandpaper.
So one of the towels I swear by, I just love them. I have several of them. The 1200 GSMs, wash towels, the big ones. That you use Matador style, they say.
Oh, that's a drying towel.
What's that?
The drying towel.
It's a drying towel.
Yeah, I have,
And
it's
it's
great.
amazing because I'm breaking down and I look and I can't see a swirl or anything. So I those, but I also wash it like what you said earlier. Brias has a wash that you only use with microfiber towels. And I only wash the microfiber towels together, nothing else. Just all those towels. So am I doing okay or?
I would say you're doing okay, and one of the you have to be very careful. Like we're mentioning here, that they're plastic fibers, so you want to use low heat, like wash it in cold water. And I think here, this is a proper, let's say, glass, and this is just, it has no nap to it. It's very flat, so your glass is pretty hard to clean. If you don't want to put these in with the microfibers that you're using for the paint, so the glass towels that you use should be treated separately because glass is really hard enough to get to be streak-free without, let's say, mixing it in with these the ones that you're using on the paint. And then when you do dry them, if the lowest heat possible when you're drying them, because otherwise you're going to be damaging the microfibers.
Air drying is fine.
Do you have any air dry the car?
You know, like when it rained this morning, sometimes, you know, I'll go out in the rain and wash the car because that is, you know, like I have a hose from my house and I have, let's say, city water, but nothing's like a natural. Yeah, so Jerry, sometimes if it's raining, like today is kind of a perfect day to wash your car because the temperature is cool. So you start at the top of the car because the idea is to kind of have the water cascade down the vehicle. And so you've put the rinseless wash on there. Now you've got a bucket of clean water and let's say rinse water. So you've got your washing water, which you'll have your auto wash soap on there. And I'll pour some auto wash in there, but in the beginning, I'll take, let's say this is the wash mitt. I'll take the whatever product that we're using for auto wash, and it's a nice, let's say, heavy liquid, and I'll spread that on the microfiber, and then I'll rub it in so that, you know, the mitt really has a good amount of soap. This is the approach that I take because I'm really trying to minimize it and have it be as slippery as possible. And I'm really trying to minimize introducing scratches to the paint. No, I don't have a phone Canon. No, so yeah, you know, I think, you know, that might be a great idea too. But personally, I haven't introduced that into the approach that I take.
Has anybody here used the phone cam? What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What I found with it, I think, is that I'm washing the car more frequently now that it's fun. But I am concerned about using the power washer because typically they recommend you foam the car. Some say you should or should not. then hand mitt or not. And then it's basically clear water rinse with the power washer. I've been concerned about the power washing system driving water into places like headlights where it shouldn't be, so they're very careful.
But like you said, if you get one that's good for the foam cannon that gives you aerated foam, it's usually too powerful for the rinse unless you stand way back.
There's automotive pressure washers that are specific just to the automotive world, or the 2.0. So you get the gallons per minute and then the PSI that's required for it. It's lower PSI.
Cheap.
It's like 350 dollars.
I think I got a Sears crown.
Yeah. That's safe.
Yeah, if you're gonna buy one for automotive use, get the lower PSI.
You know, so just adding to the stories about too much pressure, you know, I don't like to use hose in the engine area, and around the lights I'm very careful. You can see I have condensation in the back here. And just the parade story here for a moment. I think it was in Alabama, Birmingham. Cam Ingram, you may have heard of him. He had a vehicle which was in the middle of Amelia. This vehicle was hundreds of thousands of dollars. So my 1997 car, I had condensation, and it came from me when I was at the washing the car. A little bit to the hose from the hotel had a higher pressure, and I got condensation inside the my 1997 light. So it was like Saturday, right? The car show was on a Monday. So I was thinking, okay, I could, it's pretty straightforward to get the tail lights off. So it was the end, let's say it was 7 o'clock at night. There was nobody there. I'm in the men's room with the hairdryer from the room. And I'm over a garbage pail with the tail light from my 1997 car, and blowing the hot air in there to try and dry it out. And Cam Ingram comes in, he goes, "How you doing?" I said, "Well, just drying my tail lights, you know." So it was kind of, you know, he's a significant figure in Porsche. So it's kind of funny to you know, meet him that way, you know, in the men's room with the hair dryer.
Can you expand on that story, Kevin?
Oh, Jerry, I thought we had an agreement, a legal one, you know. But anyway, the point is really good.
What's Jerry doing in there?
Waiting for Jan.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. But you know, the point about being as gentle as you can, you know, about introducing marring water like this, you know, those things are all important and takeaways, I think. And I love Jerry's point about using sometimes nature to an advantage. You know, I couldn't bring the car this morning in the state that it was in, so I had to clean the wheels. And it was raining this morning, which was fine, you know, it was not so bad. But, you know, cleaning the wheels when you're doing prep work for a parade or a car show event, you know, for me, let's say the surface of the wheel is all that's supposed to be judged. But when the barrels are filthy, it's gonna, you know, for me, I think just as human nature, the judge is not going to be as impressed with the condition of that wheel compared to a wheel that's completely clean. You know, you could say it's a technicality, but you know, it's just human nature. So you're not going to get as high a score. So my point is, I ceramic coat. You know, there's a consumer grade, easy to use ceramic coating, and I ceramic coat the wheels. And that really, what does ceramic coating do? It makes it easier for the dust to come off, the brake dust to come off. And if you're going to experiment with ceramic coating, I think the wheels are great area for you to get used to it. Because what could go wrong? You know, ceramic coating, when you read the instructions, it's going to talk about the relative humidity. And, it may need to be below 60%, I think is, certainly the product that I was using. And then, of course, the air temperature can't be too hot, can't be too cold. As products get more sophisticated, they'll make them easier to use. But certainly the higher quality products might be more difficult to apply because of these parameters, and you can't just ignore them, you know what I mean? And preparation is everything, so making sure the surface is clean, let's say the inside of the wheels, you got to do the best you can to chemically decontaminate, so that means use the Iron X to lift the iron particles out. When you're first doing your wheels, if you're going to ceramic coat them, that's a time to use the clay bar. Generally speaking, it would be a very rare occasion that I would use a clay bar on the vehicle. I mean, one way that you can tell if you need to clay the vehicle is if you put a plastic baggie on your hand and then you spray some detailer, and if you rub your hand inside that plastic bag, if you rub your hand on the glass or the paint, and you could feel, let's say, an unevenness, well, that could be, let's say, some bug guts that have become impregnated into the surface or whatever. And that would be the sign to you that a clay bar would help. But, like when it comes to the glass, you could clay bar. The glass is really a hard surface. I found magic eraser. It's magic, and I found that works pretty well too. And certainly for the wheels, a magic eraser without the soap, I found that worked pretty well because you're going to have bits of tar. Let's say spots of tar could be on there. So using a chemical decontaminant to loosen that, it makes all the difference in the world, the cleaner the surface, because the ceramic coating is just going to preserve whatever's there. So ceramic coating the wheels, it makes it, this morning, literally, it was about 20 minutes for me to do all 4 wheels. And it was just so convenient. I had a brush to get into the barrels because personally, that's the way I like it to look. I like it to look clean. So I just
bring up the one question that I really wanted to ask.
Yeah.
Which ceramic coating did you use? Because I'm looking for
Yeah.
really good ceramic coating.
Well, there. As an example, the product that I used, what is it? Armor. I could show it to you. And I know they had a Labor Day sale. And a good ceramic coating is going to come in a hard container. So, like nail polish would be in glass, something which is hard. Something which is only going to be a temporary product would be, like in a plastic container. That's more of a couple month application. But
Those are sprays?
yeah, the sprays. Yeah, exactly. The way you could tell the difference, like a product which is supposed to last for a couple of years, and it's always going to vary, like this car is outside. I did ceramic coat this car years ago, and it beads up nicely when it rains, and like I said, with the wheels, the ceramic coating really helps. So one of the things that you got to be careful of, you really want to apply the ceramic coating not outside in the sun and the wind, because that just creates so many variables. And so if you could do it in your garage, that's great. And then you really want to do a small area. And the reason for that is you're kind of, let's say, you're going to apply it in a crosshatch way so that you make sure that you're not in a circular way, but a crosshatch way. And you're following the directions, right? That's the important thing. You do what they tell you to do. And then you're looking for a little bit of a rainbowing effect. So in other words, it's gassing off, you know what I mean? And usually it's less than a minute where you should be coming back to wipe it, buff it with a microfiber. And always have a couple, because it's so critical that you completely remove or you completely buff that. Otherwise, you're going to get a hazing. And if you get a hazing, in the beginning, if you catch it early, you would put, let's say, another ceramic coating on there, and then it kind of allows you to rework it. But if you've missed it, that's going to be hard. Let's say it's 2 weeks later or whatever, and it's really cured. It's going to be hard. But there are ceramic coatings which are, let's say, for enthusiasts like us, and I could help you with that product, but they're out there. Yeah, that is good. I have a microfiber wand, let's say, and the handle end has that capability. Yeah, they get.
You have to show me that next time, because I still use Q-tips.
Yeah, no, this is great.
Like what I did this morning in this area, when I was cleaning the wheels, in the corners here, so where there's 90-degree angles, and also, in this area here where Jerry's talking about, it's, with a brush, it just doesn't get in there. But because I'm spraying Iron X on here, I had gloves on. I just come in here with my finger, and it's not getting underneath the nut like you mentioned. But in the 90-degree corners, it was filthy. So I just come in with my finger, and especially with that glove on there, kind of helps.
You can put old sweat socks on with your fingers and just get in there too.
Yeah.
What works even better than sweat socks is if you want more dexterity, go get some cotton garden gloves. And you can spray the tips of the garden gloves.
And the whole package of that.
Yeah, let's see. Let's talk about glass for a moment. So for glass, I like to do the inside first, and my thinking is the outside is going to be dirty. Inside, you tend to get maybe some haze from the off-gassing of the materials, and if you do have, let's say maybe somebody's a smoker, or if you have a new car where the off-gassing has happened, isopropyl alcohol on a microfiber, that cuts through the haze particularly well. But let's say you're past that phase and you don't have much that. What I'll do is, this is the low nap microfiber. So I'll spray here. I don't want to ever spray like this, because then you're going to get spray on your dash, and whether it's leather or vinyl, it's not a good thing. And you do, glass cleaner for automobiles is not Windex. Windex has ammonia D, which if you have tint, ammonia D is too strong. So, automotive glass cleaner is made for cars. Just like with the auto wash, if you use Dawn dish detergent, it's going to remove the polish and wax that you have on the car. It's too strong. Now, if you want to ceramic coat your car and you want to get it really down to the base, that may be a time where you're using something which is a little bit more aggressive. But anyway, so, I would wipe the glass. Glass is hard to get clean. So you really want to have a microfiber to dry it with. And you may need a second one. If this one gets damp at all, come in with a second one to get that off. Now I'll do the whole interior glass, and I try to, let's say you saw me go like this. So what I'm looking for when I do it on the outside, I would go this way. Because when I'm trying to find out, where is that spot? Is it on the outside or is it on the inside? It helps a little bit if you've used a different stroke, with that. So 2 microfibers for drying and this low nap. Or you could even, there is glass cleaners where it has the hatch weave is also good. But the microfibers that you use for your glass, try to avoid using or washing them with the microfibers that you use for your your paint. So I do the interior first, glass, then I do the exterior. And it really helps, you know, the lighting here is indoor light. It's not the same as outdoor light. If your car's being judged outdoors and it's sunny, it's gonna be different. So it's gonna be very bright. So you really, I find I need perspective. I need to step away from the car and look at it from different angles. Getting on your knees when it comes to the side of the car. Because if the judge gets on its knees and you've done everything from a standing position, you're gonna miss a lot. You know, and your rocker panel could be you know, not in the cleanliness that it needs to be. So that's something I think is also very important.
And then let me add
Yeah.
at the last, I think your suggestions were excellent. I have found, as a result of a tip years ago from Danny Rasmussen, who some people may remember, that in order to get the glass clean, you have to clean it 3 times. And like Kevin says, you start on the inside and you clean the glass once, all around on the inside. Then go do something else, come back, do it again. Second time. Yeah, because I told you. And then do it a 3rd time on the inside, because you always miss something. I don't care how well or how good a job you think you've done, you would miss something. Then you do the outside glass last, and you do that twice. And when you get to the contour thing, you do it for the 3rd time on the outside. You never touch the inside again if you don't have to. Because I guarantee, if you're out in the sun, you're going to get smudges and smears if you try and clean the inside glass yet a 4th time.
You know, just one more point too, like, you know, Hank, the point about, let's say, doing the inside of the car, I did kind of jump around to the glass part there, but if I'm doing the inside of the car, you know, driving to an event, you're going to get stuff stuck to the bottom of your shoes. So what I usually do when I get to a Concours event, I do the interior first, because, you know, I don't want, when I close those doors, I don't want to reopen it, because depending if you're outdoors, you're going to get things, dust blown in there, and be very careful. You know, if hopefully you had the time to do the dust removal or the, you know, using a cleaner on your dashboard, because it can happen, you know, you're doing the drying and then you touch the glass, and, you know, because you want to kind of do things in a logical way. So do that dash cleaning before you do the glass, because, you know, invariably your cloth might touch and it'll be a smear. But any questions about the glass? Because the glass is a big area on your car, and it looks great, but it could also, you know, you could lose points, and it's easy for a judge to see a smudge. So, you know, when let's say after I finish doing the car, when you have to open everything up, you know, sometimes depending upon the weather, you could, you know, have sweaty palms or whatever. You know, it's not a sign of weakness if you use a microfiber cloth to open the window, and especially when you need to close it. Because if you go like this, you're going to put fingerprints on there, and you're going to get a deduction, because it's just they're going to go like this, and they're going to see it.
The safest place to close the door on a 997 is on the keyhole.
Oh, wow. That's a good point. Wow.
Because it's less visible.
Yeah. You know, having the microfiber, or like Hank is saying, pushing there. It's a good idea. How about, you know, I'll open up the front here. I parked this car outside, so this is the life that it lives. So for the batteries, you know, it is an area that's, I have a Sears Die Hard. That's a special battery. But, yeah. But, you know, you could see it's got a little red on here. So that's kind of a, I'm not showing this car, so like that's kind of a grease that helps keep from the corrosion from building up. But you really want to try and make sure that that's as clean as possible. And I do keep a trickle charge, even I park this car in the driveway, but I still extend a trickle charge onto it.
Now, if you have the trickle charger,
Yeah.
remove that for the concourse.
No, that's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah. I would say we especially at our level, it's even at the parade, you don't have to worry about things like that because cleanliness is what's important. And so when it comes to cleanliness, so before a big event, you really want to take these panels off, and it's really kind of easy. It's just like a little jigsaw puzzle here, to remove all these, and you could see this is why. Because certainly a parade, you're gonna be asked to remove stuff. So you do want to make sure you do this stuff ahead of time. I park my car outside, so this is something which builds up quite easily. And you could see, this is something you want to make sure that you get all that debris out. When I drove to Oklahoma City, I had a couple hitchhikers that I picked up along the way, and they were wedged in. These were big insects, and I have pictures. It's something most judges aren't going to really look too deeply in here, but I spent a good amount of time, and it was more than a dozen insects that were wedged in. We have a coolant fan here and our oil cooler fan. And there's cigarette butts, you're gonna get leaves, and all of that stuff. If you get a cigarette filter in there up against the fan, that aluminum material, that's gonna stay wet, and it's going to, over time, create a situation which is not a good one. So, I could kind of get my hands in here, but yeah, there's more. I do clean this, and I could see leaves in here. So it is something that, this is a big area, and when it comes to a concours, the areas that are getting judged, again, it's for our own good, helping us to preserve our investment. You want that area to be clean, to optimize the cooling, and to keep those fans from, not fans, but the radiators there from getting corroded. So that's a big area for me personally, and I can tell you when I'm judging, I'm looking at it. And this is really, this car has all-wheel drive. I have winter tires on this in the wintertime, and I take this when I want to go skiing, like when I go up to Canada, I take this car.
So this is your daily driver?
I have a Boxster. I'm in that position where I have my summer car and the more winter car. But I use the Boxster in this car as dailies, But this car I love with a little bit of snow. It's great. I just want to show you a couple more products. So I have a convertible. The 1997 car has a plastic window, and this plexus, if you read the marketing here, it's made for aeronautical purposes for the, for the pilot, the plastic for the pilot to see through. So this really, I found, is a good cleaner polish for the back window that I have. So if you have, let's say, marine boating, this is also good for that. One of the better products. This here, the plastic here, I recently applied a rejuvenator for that. and I can't remember the name of it right now, but I could tell you it does look a lot better than it did, because this would have been almost a light gray before I applied it. It was almost like Ceratex. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
Cerakote?
Cerakote, that's it. It was Cerakote was the product that I used. And Cerakote, it really did a nice job. And, you know, like anything else, you know, getting things out of the way so that you got to clean. The prep work is key with anything when you're trying to preserve it or bring it back. You got to clean it well first. So I found the Cerakote, and this has been a few months. I tried to do a video on that, but it was so sunny out. I looked like a ghost. It was just the lens was very confused because it was so bright. So unfortunately, I couldn't publish that one. You know, this, I mentioned dashboard cleaner that doesn't make something shiny. Yeah, this, you know, Armor All, we kind of grew up with it, but, and they may have a matte finish one, but this one here is particularly good at, for the vinyl. There's so many products out there, you know, it's like, you know, like ladies, you know, when you go into the mall and you see the makeup section. So, you know, this is turtle wax. I think the innovations that they're doing, this is a ceramic wax. Before I drove to the parade, you know, it's quite a distance, I tried to put some protection or sacrificial layer on top of the paint. So this I found was really easy to use. I liked the way it did, to me when I was applying this, it was helping me to do almost like a deeper clean. I liked the way this worked, and this is a new turtle wax product that they have. And I think Hank had mentioned earlier with their ceramic spray, you know, some of the chemistry now is so much better, you know, easier to use. So I try and be open-minded, you know, about what's out there. Again, being careful about the marketing, because like ceramic coating, when it first came out, they were setting fire to the paint and taking, you know, things and going like this. It was, the marketing was crazy. You know, for me, ceramic coating the vehicle, just like clear coat, it adds a little bit of a layer and it makes cleaning the car easier. That's the marketing that I appreciate, and let's say I believe a little bit more in. And certainly for the wheels, it's been great, because anybody who uses the Techstar brake pads, which is the original equipment for many of the, let's say for the 1997 car that I have, you pull out of the driveway and you've got dust. It's like immediate. So the Techstar brakes, that's what's original, but it throws off so much dust. All right, well, I hope you found it helpful. I think that's it.
This wheel that spoke to putting up those valve steps.